Today's guest is a true trailblazer in the world of dog training and puppy rearing. And while she's best known for her work with bull terriers, her impact has rippled through every breed and mix, including our beloved Doodles. Jane Messineo Lindquist is the brilliant mind behind puppy culture, the groundbreaking film and program that's changed how an entire generation of breeders and pet parents raise their puppies. She's also the author of the cult favorite book, When Pigs Fly Training Success with Impossible Dogs, which offers hope and real results for those of us with strong willed pups. Jane has been in the dog world for over 40 years, breeding, showing, judging, and presenting seminars all over the globe. Her kennel, Madcap Bull Terriers, has produced over 100 conformation and performance titles, proving that even the most independent breeds can shine in both the show ring and performance arenas. As an AKC judge, the Bull Terrier Club of America's AKC delegate, and a passionate advocate for early socialization and enrichment, Jane's work has united trainers, breeders, rescues, and pet parents around one shared goal: giving puppies their very best start. She has helped over 80,000 puppy culture fans around the world, and today she's here to share her wisdom with the Doodle Pro community. Let's give a warm welcome to the Jane. Hello, how are you?
Corinne, what a lovely introduction. Thank you so much.
I must say, I brought home my Doodle Cavapoo Nestle March of 2020, and he was
Yeah,
supposed to come
that's
home at that
fun.
time.
Yeah.
And even though I had worked with hundreds of doodles and this is my profession, I still was at a loss of how do I socialize this pup when the world is shut down.
Yes.
And you offered a program and it was complimentary just to help pup parents who were in the same situation, just to help them get through it. And it helped my dog and I so much, just practicing Manding and the box game. And you are just an incredible resource. And I'm personally thrilled to introduce you to our audience, and for those who haven't already gotten to hear about all of your great work.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. For listeners who are brand new to puppy culture, can you share more about what it is and how you created it?
Sure. It was so many things an accident because I was a professional dog trainer and I'd written this book, When Pigs Fly, that you mentioned. The way that I came to write When Pigs Fly is that I always say I have two loves in this world, two passions, bull terriers and dog agility, which are oxymorons.
Right.
It's just about impossible to get a bull terrier to do this. But somehow I was managing to do it
Mhm.
and kept saying, you, how did you do this? I don't understand. And I would explain it to them. And then finally someone said, you should write a book. And I did. Okay. So this book takes off. And as you say, it's a cult classic. And I was making a movie version of the book, but we happened to have a litter on the ground.
Oh.
And I said, you know what? Let me make a 20-minute film just on the developmental periods in puppies. And that turned into just being an enormous 4-year project that wound up being in a five-hour film, Puppy Culture. And I think what happened as I was making the film, I was connecting dots as a dog breeder, as a trainer, and as a performance sport enthusiast. And what I was seeing is that a lot of the things that people think of as behavior problems are really errors or omissions in the very early part of the puppy's life. So it's a lack or an incomplete or an incorrect socialization or upbringing that people then perceive as a behavior problem or a personality trait in the dog. I realized that probably seriously 80% of the problems that dog trainers face could be circumvented by the right early protocols. And that's what puppy culture is about.
which is a remarkable gift that we can be breeding with intention, but then taking that next step is just such a wonderful opportunity.
Absolutely. The thing is, nothing trumps genetics. As a breeder, you always have to be starting with the best genetics. And as a puppy owner, you should always be looking for the best genetics. What are the temperaments of the parents? What are the temperaments, if you know, of the 5-generation pedigree? But past that, as I say, it's genetics draws a box of possibilities, and you want that box of possibilities to be as good as possible. Within that box where you land, it's all up to you. And
Right.
that's, again, what puppy culture is about.
And when we describe puppy culture, I mean, you mentioned that what do you say it's a 4-hour film and
Mhm.
then it's developed so much more than that. So when
Okay.
people hear puppy culture,
Mm.
is it just a philosophy or are there specific exercises that people are doing for someone completely unfamiliar? Can you share what does that expectation, that shared language mean?
We have a whole family of educational product under the
Mhm.
same puppy culture umbrella now. When Pigs Fly, puppy culture, and now we also have Madcap University.
Yeah.
Puppy culture is concerned with raising behaviorally sound puppies. So it's not a lot of husbandry. It's not a lot of training per se, like performance training or that kind of thing. It's more about raising puppies with emotional resilience,
Mm.
handing over a blank slate to the puppy owner that they can then work with. So the protocols in puppy culture are all geared toward that behavioral side.
Mm.
Now, it does start at birth with things like ENS that maybe we'll talk a little bit more about. But, and it does, I'm going to say, it does also include enrichment, but we divide enrichment into active and passive enrichment. So, passive enrichment is things like toys, an enriched environment, that kind of thing that it looks very sexy, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
All the stuff, all the equipment, and it's great. It is important. It's part of toys and those things, they're all part of an enriched environment. But I would say where the rubber really meets the road as far as puppy culture is concerned is what we call the active enrichment items, which are training, manding, anti-resource guarding protocols, crate and confinement conditioning, early toilet training,
Mm.
socialization. Those are the things that really are the hallmarks and the game changers with puppy culture.
Yes. And I see the pups that come out of using this protocol and program that you've created are more optimistic.
Mm.
They are more confident, less demanding. They know how to ask politely for what they want as opposed to charging through or demand barking, etc. And when someone comes home with a puppy who their breeder has really followed this program, the house training already have gotten a head start. The crate comfort already gotten a head start. The exposure to different textures, smells, etc. before they've left that home environment and before fear periods are closing in. I mean, it's just remarkable the difference that this program can make.
I know that you are very passionate about reinforcement training, about
Yeah.
positive techniques. And I say this in puppy culture, but it's a point I think that kind of gets lost sometimes is that a lot of the reason why it's so profound for breeders to have done this early is that when the puppy gets into the owner's home and the breeder demonstrates for the puppy owner, look, this puppy knows how to communicate with you. Look, this works. Look, the puppy's already primed on that understanding of communication back and
Mhm.
forth, positive way, it eliminates friction points for the puppy owners and keeps them from reaching for a quick fix in the form of punishment. So this is where it really dovetails in with the dog trainers, and this is why
Mhm.
we have so many dog trainers that are passionate about puppy culture because
Yes,
it makes their job easier with the puppy owner.
it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And I don't get I don't get commission or anything for sharing my enthusiasm for your work. It does make my work easier.
Yes.
If more breeders are using this and more puppy parents are selecting their dogs, having gone through this program before they even come home. So it does make my job easier. And
You get to work on the fun stuff,
I
right? I
do.
mean, you aren't
And
dealing with the baseline, "This puppy is screaming at night, and I don't know what to."
yeah. And both of us share the goal, I'm sure, of wanting the best relationships possible with new puppies and their parents. Like that is our shared goal. And you've just come up and really honed it in on some beautiful techniques. I mentioned earlier the term manding, and you referenced that as well. That's a new term for many. Do you mind sharing how you define that?
Not at all. So, manding is something that I borrowed from human psychology, and it's a way of teaching nonverbal humans how to ask for things. So, the example that I use that explains how profound it is a case study of a child that was taught to a nonverbal human child that was taught to ask for a treat. And beforehand, this child had all kinds of typical acting out behavior problems that a lot of children like that do have. But as soon as the child had the ability to ask for things and receive them, as soon as it could say, I would like that treat, self injury reduced, almost eliminated, I believe, acting out, tantrums, all of these things eliminated. Now, it's not because the child could get a toy.
Right.
It's because the child could communicate its need, its want of that toy because it was heard. And I would not equate puppies on an exact level with humans. However, the principle is the same that if we teach the puppy a behavior, when they have a need, when they want something, they can communicate that to us. It has profound behavioral benefits outside of the immediate situation. So we use a sit as a mand. So the puppy wants something, it needs something, it sits in front of you. It mans. It's saying, hey, I would fill in the blank, whatever it is. Now, here's the part that's really cool about this
Yeah.
is that you don't even have to gratify the puppy's request. Like the puppy sits in front of you, I'd like you to pay attention to me now. Fluffy, I'm busy. I see you. I love you, but I'm busy. Believe
Mhm.
it or not, Fluffy's okay with that because they can accept that you heard them and decided, no, I can't right now. As opposed to the puppy that has no way to communicate what they need. And then they're just going to start barking at you and you're going to shush the puppy. And the puppy's, oh, good. I got
I got something.
pay attention to me.
Yeah.
This whole just like ships in the night, you're
Mhm.
totally on two different planes with this. So the manding, again, people tend to confuse it with sitting politely for patting, which is it's the Premack principle. It's a different thing. It's what I call a behavior homophone. Because the puppy is sitting, we think it's the same thing. It's not,
Right.
okay? It's not a gatekeeper behavior. It's not like before I will pay attention to you, you have to sit. It's the puppy saying, there's a possibility if I sit that I'll get what I want.
And it's fascinating to watch how they spontaneously use this skill. I see after teaching it with my own pup that when his fluffy little bottom hits the ground, that's like his way of saying, please.
Yeah.
And just with my kids, if they ask please, it doesn't mean that they always get everything they're asking for. And that's a given. But if I'm taking too long throwing the ball during fetch, he's, well, how do I ask for her to give me that? And his little bottom hits the ground. And that's how he's, please throw it.
Aw.
That's so much more enjoyable too and rewarding for the both of us than him jumping on me, trying to mouth the ball out of my hand. Where you're giving them a tool on how to politely ask. Just
Yes.
like with house training, sometimes I'll have pet parents say, I don't want my dog scratching at the back door or barking. I don't want them to damage my door. And it's annoying when they bark. Great. How can they ask you to
Right.
go outside and use the potty? Are we using bells? Like what is our
Yeah. What's your plan?
yeah, what's the polite way?
Yeah.
And Manding is such a wonderful way to teach a polite way from when they're tiny, but you can teach it at all ages.
100%. That's a great point. The way I started with Manding actually was with rescue dogs because I used to do a lot of fostering. And it was always the first thing I taught rescue dogs because they come in to your house and maybe they haven't been abused, usually not truly abused, but certainly the only interaction they've ever had with a human has been negative. In other words, the only time anyone pays attention to this dog is when it's going to be something bad. So I started with Manding with my rescue dogs to teach them, look, we can communicate. And guess what? We can intersect. It's okay. Come seek out my attention. It's cool. So yeah, any age.
And for dogs similar to Doodles who, when they are demanding, there's a lot of jumping, knocking over. It's a great way for them to say please with a little safe personal space without knocking you over.
100%.
When someone is looking at a prospective puppy breeder and they're trying to, let's say oh, I love this idea of puppy culture. I want to find someone who's using that. You'll see on some breeder sites, we use ENS or early neurological stimulation.
Okay.
And sometimes that can be said as if it's the same thing. Can you share what does ENS mean? It's a buzzword in many circles. And how does that fit in? Is it synonymous with puppy culture? Can you help us discern that a little more?
Yeah, that's a deceptively
Yeah.
subject. Interesting though. So early neurological stimulation is something that was popularized by Carmen Battaglia. He's a dog breeder, breeds German Shepherds. And it's a series of manipulations that you do on puppies from 6 to 16 days old. So you hold them up, you hold them upside down, you put them on their back, you put them on a cool mat. It's a couple seconds a piece. It's altogether just a few seconds a day. And under the correct circumstances, it can have benefits to the endocrine system. It can jumpstart the puppy's immune system. It can have a lot of positive benefits. But when I was making the film, I was going down to interview Dr. Battaglia and I started researching ENS because I always do my homework and I was looking at the studies. And I was like, I actually don't see any evidence in dogs that this works.
Mm.
So then I started looking at livestock. And indeed, in things like chickens, swine, cattle, they've used it, and it has been shown to have these benefits that purportedly it has for dogs. So fast forward now, since puppy culture, there have been a couple studies come out, and they're conflicting. Some have shown that there is a benefit to dogs, and some have shown that there's not. And the operative difference really is that when you're coming from a baseline of no handling, livestock like chicks, that nobody's ever going to be picking it up every day and doing things, yes, then ENS has a benefit. Again, the places with dogs where they saw ENS to have a benefit were big commercial kennels where nobody's touching these puppies ever. So somebody going in and doing some manipulations on these puppies, yes, there was some benefit. For the average hobby breeder, you're already doing ENS. If you want to do it, go ahead if it makes you feel better. But I don't do it anymore with my puppies. It's not conferring a benefit to your average hobby home raised litters. Now, you could check off that box and say you do it, but I'm telling you, as a prospective puppy buyer, the least of the protocols in puppy culture is ENS. Now, this is an area, though, that we've expanded since then because more research has come out about this different kinds of early neurological manipulations. And one thing that has shown to have a lot of benefits in laboratory animals is licking. Okay. So the correlation between maternal styles, dams who lick their pups a lot. Now I'm talking about rat pups. When I say the more high lick dams have puppies with a better regulated HPA axis. So it's that stroking and licking and
Fascinating.
that, without getting too into it, sort of fine tunes that HPA axis so that the puppies have a better, more resilient response to stress. I do simulated maternal stimulation as opposed to early neurological stimulation. So I do use a soft brush and brush my puppies because in the studies, they found that they could ameliorate the effects of a low lick mother, a mother that didn't lick her puppies, by simulating it with a soft hairbrush. So I do a lot of SMS, especially since we have a pretty high C-section rate with our dams. And a lot of times in the beginning, they can be slow to come around. Don't Just a tip, if you're a breeder out there, if you ever have a C-section dam, ditch the ENS. Those puppies don't need ENS. They're stressed enough. But the dam likely is going to be slower to come around if for no other reason than they're out of it for a few hours after the C-section. Simulated maternal stimulation. I do have an article on this at Madcap University. It says Rethinking ENS is the title of the article. So if anybody's interested in learning more or looking at the licked rat studies, it's all in there.
Perfect. I'll add that in the show notes for people to look it up.
Perfect. But again, circling back to the puppy buyer, if you are looking for a good breeder, a breeder that you feel is doing a good job with those puppies, that's going to have given those puppies a good head start. First of all, let me just start with puppy culture is not the only early puppy development program out there. Okay. Just saying puppy culture, even just doing puppy culture, there are other good breeders. What you really want to look for are the meaty kind of protocols. So is the breeder teaching manding? Is the breeder doing leash walking with the puppies? Is the breeder doing recalls with the puppies? Do you see the puppies being crate trained? Do you see the puppies being taken out in a stroller and socialized? These are the kinds of things that you want to be looking for.
That's really helpful. You mentioned that little stroller piece, right? Still being exposed outside of the home that they're being bred in. A common concern I hear from new puppy parents is I can't take my dog out yet because they haven't gotten all their vaccinations. And
Right.
that would be dangerous. So you keep talking about the socialization window, this opportune time that ends right at the same time that all the vaccinations would be finished. So, what would you say to someone who's feeling anxious about early socialization before their pup is fully vaccinated?